In our modern days, many people believe that you can become a rich person only by working in such a field as finance or as a top manager of some large marketing company. However, there are many examples of how a person managed to get rich without having anything to do with these areas of activity, but simply by doing his favorite thing very skillfully. One of these individuals is Alan Wong, who began his career as a plantation worker and a simple dishwasher in a hotel in Hawaii, and eventually became the world's richest chef and owner of his own restaurant chain. Alan is also known as one of the creators of modern Hawaiian cuisine, which has gained popularity in many dozens of countries on all continents. This man's fortune is estimated at more than $1 billion, and this figure not only inspires respect toward him, but also involuntarily raises the ultimate question for many observers of his success. How did he manage to achieve all this, especially taking into consideration the thousands of his colleagues who remained unknown and not really rich? You're watching Wealth History, the channel dedicated to crazy rich individuals and their success stories. And on this channel today, we'll take a look at one man, Alan Wong, and his path to success. So stay with us. What can you offer that no one else can? Wong's family home. Evening. So you're telling me that you're determined to become a chef? Alan Wong's father looked at his son thoughtfully. Okay, it's up to you. I won't persuade you, let alone forbid you, because you're already an adult, so you're responsible for your decisions. And if you make a mistake, Alan, it will be only yours. But I see that you like to cook, and you'll certainly become a good cook. But in order to become famous, well-renowned, and get rich, you'll need to do something special that others can't offer. After all, there are many good chefs around the world, and you know it, Alan. And each has something of his own, for which people go to his specific place to eat. So you've got to take a second and think, what exactly can you offer that no one else will offer to people? Alan listened to his father attentively. As a person brought up in the traditions of the East, he always listened to the opinion of his parents. And he was glad that they, as reasonable people, did not object to his decision, because the culinary art had attracted the young man for a long time. So now he'll be able to study in college, and this will be a stepping stone on the way to his dream. And to begin with, he should understand the restaurant business and essentially how it works. But without personal experience, he will not be able to get the entire picture of this field of activity. In the same evening, Alan remembered when he first wanted to become a cook. This happened after one of his relatives told about life and work on Hawaiian plantations in the days of his youth. His ancestors on his father's side came to the archipelago from China in the middle of the 19th century. At that time in his father's homeland, there was a lack of work opportunities and famine was widespread in the country. Although Wong was born in Tokyo and his mother was Japanese by nationality, his father was Chinese with an admixture of Polynesian blood. Thus, it's not a coincidence that Alan was so deeply captivated by everything related to the Hawaiian Islands, including his specialty, the local fascinating cuisine, and at that time it was largely borrowed and focused on tourists. So, according to the same relative, he and other Chinese people lived in barracks together with people of other nationalities, including Asian nationalities, Filipinos, Koreans, Japanese, and Polynesians. Every group had their own food, and it was common to give it to a neighbor to take a bite. Everyone was inherently curious because it was sometimes vastly different from their own. Listening to these stories, Alan wanted not only to try foreign dishes himself, but apart from it, to come up with something of his own, some new approach that everyone would enjoy. So that was the way he decided what he will be involved into. Future career. Well, the college has been successfully completed and now he can start looking for his dream job. To begin with, Wong worked as a restaurant manager and then decided to improve further and, like many young people from Hawaii, went to conquer America, choosing the Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia as a place of his conquest. Well, then he got to New York, where he was lucky to get a job in the French restaurant Lutèce right in Manhattan Borough itself. And here, Alan Wong was truly lucky. The famous chef André Soltner turned his personal attention to him. Starting his career as a cook at the age of 15, he gradually achieved worldwide recognition and worked for 34 years at Lutèce, missing only 5 working days during this time for various reasons. It's difficult to say for sure why he liked the young novice chef, but soon Soltner became his mentor in the profession, perhaps because this guy reminded him of himself in the same young brave years. Hey, you'll go far, boy. Your hands are in their place, your head is also working in proper way, so if you decide to stay in this city, you'll easily find a job and eventually become famous, serving food to some big names. And you'll earn very well. Oh yeah, you'll not regret it, Alan. But to his surprise, Alan just shook his head in response. Thank you for such flattering words, Mr. Salter. But I'm gonna go home to my native Hawaii. I got some ideas on my mind that I can implement just there. And it will be much easier to open your own restaurant in Hawaii, Original cooking. And so it eventually happened. After some time, Wong returned and soon opened the first restaurant, the Canoe House, at the Mauna Lani Bay Hotel and Bungalows. He was then less than 25 years old, and at the beginning things were not looking bright. However, this is always the case with newcomers, whom almost no one knows. In the restaurant business, reputation has utmost significance. People usually prefer already proven brands, and a new person can only interest them with something completely out of the ordinary, and at the same time keeping the quality high. 2 more years passed, Alan gained practical experience and managed to attract the attention of tourists visiting Hawaii. But the man felt that this wasn't enough for real success, and he thought a lot about the fact that customers needed to be given something really, and once again, really original. And then one day he invited his colleagues, who also had their own restaurants on the islands, to a meetup. Tourists come to us from God knows how far away for the sake of exotic atmosphere and something original. And they also want to try our local cuisine. But over the past couple of centuries, it has mixed a lot of other cuisines, and this food requires importing a lot of products, right? This is both inconvenient and just expensive from all standpoints. I suggest a new approach to this. The use of local ingredients. Yeah, it will be both exotic and for a reasonable cost. I've thought about it too, actually, Chef Roy Yamaguchi replied. I do agree with you, and I think that others will support this idea. Let's create a new Hawaiian cuisine and introduce it to the rest of the world. Oh, that will be phenomenal. This is how an organization called Hawaii Regional Cuisine was created, whose goal was to develop Hawaiian cuisine through quote-unquote a variety of ethnic styles and extensive use of local products. The chefs have partnered with local farmers, fishermen, and makers of a wide variety of products to make modern Hawaiian cuisine relevant to the local modern culture while appealing to others. And Alan Wong was experimenting with ingredients at the same time, creating new fusions and recipes and keeping the most successful ones in the menu. Getting new recipes. It came to the point that some of the dishes were invented by him personally, well, in a dream. For example, he tried for a long time to find a suitable recipe for a fish in ginger sauce, but the options he tried did not work out. And then one day he fell asleep, and then he heard his intuition, advising him to add the right ingredients to make it work. Wong listened to it and the very next day cooked the first such dishes in his restaurant. They were quickly eaten, and the next day visitors came for these dishes once again. Come on, man, it can't be true, his friends told him doubtfully when Alan told them about this incident. I suppose you made up this story yourself, Alan. Alright, and why should I make up such stories? The infamous cook asked them. It was after that happened that I finally realized that the success of the new cuisine is a combination of gastronomic cultures of different nations. We can also say fusion. And besides, any dish should have no more than 5 main ingredients. Otherwise, it is already too much for our taste buds. His path to world recognition. Gradually, the list of successful recipes was replenished, and a couple of years later, friends released a cookbook called New Hawaiian Cuisine. It quickly became popular and brought its creator well-deserved fame. After a while, Alan Wong was recognized as one of the fastest progressing chefs in the United States and the absolute best in the Pacific Northwest of the country. In April 1995, he opened his new restaurant in the state capital of Honolulu, and at the end of the 1990s, this institution was recognized as the best in Hawaii and despite high competition, entered the top 10 best in the United States. But Wong didn't stop there, and in 1999 opened another restaurant, making it a more democratic in terms of pricing. Not only did he apply a new style to it, but he also made it open from morning to evening, unlike his other restaurants, which were open only in the afternoon. But what they had in common? Very soon it turned out that there were too many people who wanted to book a table, and as a result, the queue stretched for several weeks ahead. And this was another recognition of Wong's popularity as a chef and a restaurant owner. And one average sunny day in 2009, a phone call suddenly rang in his house. Hello, Mr. Wong? You're being interrupted from the White House, where the glory of your culinary art has also reached. We've heard about you. We want to invite you to organize a traditional annual Hawaiian-themed party for the President and members of Congress, and we are sure that no one else can do it better than you, Mr. Wong. President Barack Obama himself invites you to visit him. Well, of course, I agree. It's a great honor for me, to be honest with you. Alan Wong replied without hesitation. Please, tell the president that everything will be at the highest possible level. Everything really took place with the best possible service, as well as food and atmosphere. The guests were very satisfied with both the cuisine and the time spent. This added to Wong's popularity, and of course, wealthy clients from all over the world wanted to visit his fabulous restaurant. This is how Alan Wong, a once simple worker and a dishwasher, gradually went to the heights of culinary art and restaurant business. And as a result, he reached the point when his fortune exceeded $1 billion, which none of his colleagues can be proud of. It turns out that pretty much everyone has a chance to become rich if, of course, he finds and offers people something that no one else can offer. That was Wealth History Channel. Enjoyed this episode? Click on one of the episodes on the screen to take a look at them too. Subscribe and leave a like, and see you later.